It's just hey everybody. Hey everybody.
Hey everybody, it's Jonathan, not Trevor. I'm gonna say that literally every time.
This is the intro now. You made this an intro again. God damn it. I'm Vincent. This is the point where you say, and today we're reviewing.
I know. I'm pulling up my fucking notes.
No, say it.
So today we're reviewing the new-ish Daughters album. You Won't Always Get What You Want. This is their first album.
You have to leave a pause there so I can say something stupid remark.
Oh.
So like this time you didn't give me it, so it didn't come up naturally. So I'll just say something terrible like, oh, "Daughters, what about sons?" or something like that. Now this is the point where you
this
cringe.
Is why I shouldn't give you breaks.
Or like you're supposed to say a dumb joke and then I laugh and then we go. It's like Daughters is a.
This is why I should not give you a break. I'm not gonna pause like at all now if I know that that's what you're gonna be like.
This is how the formula works.
Fuck
it's
you.
a true and trusted formula.
Fucking stupid.
Continue.
You came up with the formula, didn't you?
It actually happened naturally.
It just kind of happened?
Yeah.
Anywho, so this is the new-ish album from the noise art punk band from Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. This is their first record in like almost 10 years. They went on hiatus after their third self-titled album. The band consists of the vocalist Alex S.F. Marshall, guitarist Nicholas Andrew Sadler, drummer Son Siverson, I'm probably going to pronounce that awful, and bassist Samuel Morehouse Walker. It was released late October of last year. It immediately got like a ton of critical acclaim. Anthony Fantano gave it 10 out of 10.
The Lord and Savior himself, Mr. Yellow Flannel Melon.
The Melon. Gave it a 10 out of 10.
It's also like really high on the albumoftheyear.org at like 8th or something like that. And it's like critically acclaimed. I remember you were super hyped for this record. Like not like join the train. You were on the train before anyone else. Like the true little hipster darling like you are. And I remember you're like showing me some of their music before this album came out. And like I just did not relate to it whatsoever, which was weird because I do this to Trevor all the time.
Yeah.
And like now I know how like to be on the other side of the world is. But I just didn't get it, I guess. And I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think there was anything for me in it. And I remember I listened to the album with you in drawing class in the shitty drawing room on your shitty computer laptop. And I remember listening to this and I'm like, yeah, that's not bad, but I don't think there's anything for me. And then repeatedly critical acclaim across the board. And I'm like, what? So I like double checked. And as time gone on, I realized, okay, so they have these like large walls of sound, essentially with anything with noise music is large walls of sound.
It's going to happen.
But they have this like really depressing atmosphere and essentially in this like dark dystopian landscape.
Yeah.
In a sense. And it's all about essentially the narrator going through these places or phases in his life and talking about how he's experiencing agony or paranoia or it's self-harm or self-attempted harm in some form.
This is probably like one of the single like deeply like upsetting, not because like of anything like vulgar or like truly like offensive, but just upsetting in terms of like this is the most like anxiety filled album I've heard from like a non like shoo like band.
I have a reason why I think I don't. Okay, so the writing's fine.
Yeah,
like
right. The production is like top notch.
Production is the more thing I resonate with because the writing style is it covers the points that it needs to, but I feel like the presentation of the character or of the places we're getting seems pretty flat because it only talks about the issues, but we don't see anything past that. We don't see any additional character. So we'll hear about this paranoid guy, we'll hear about this story or whatever, but we won't hear anything past the bad. And I'm not saying like everything needs to be hunky-dory and rainbows and glitter and all that shit, but like we need additional moments so I can hear like I can essentially empathize with them more because I feel like we're getting the paranoia from the soundscape and that's what I resonate through is the paranoia in the soundscape comparative to the paranoia and like anxiety of the vocals of Alexis.
But no, like I get it. Like there isn't like any breath in this album. It's purely the darkness. It's purely like bleakness and anxiety and fear and paranoia and not evil, but like personal, like hell. And like you get some examples of like where it's going a little bit external with like The Reason They Hate Me, where it's like targeting music critics.
Yeah.
And Saying in the Wait, which is kind of like just the general like slowly building like hatred within the world.
Yeah.
And you get those moments, but there's never a solution, and there's never like.
I'm not saying there really
it.
needs to be a solution. I think I just need to see something outside that.
Yeah, and like I get that, but I feel like if you did that, it would.
Because like I understand why they do it, so they kind of put you in this threshold of constant anxiety, and there isn't anything outside of it. And I get the idea of you don't want to actually add, I guess, positive qualities to things that are negative, or even negative characters, because then you get into this point where you're making these antagonists like anti-heroes.
You get Rick and Morty. Kind of.
I was gonna say Breaking Bad,
or that too,
but like because that's good. Kind of,
you
actually.
Get something that's like you create a character who's like you're not supposed to sympathize with, and the moment you start adding things that are positive, you will get people who will start sympathizing with it, and will start misunderstanding the work.
Yeah.
And they clearly don't want us to sympathize with the character. They want us to like maybe relate to the pain.
Yeah.
But they don't want us to sympathize with it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a mixed fit of like when you look at their past albums, like before their hiatus, like those are all these like super quick, super punchy albums, and they're all like super bleak, super quick. And it was this brief like snapshot of like suffering and hell. Like their first album was only like 11 minutes long. Their second one was like 20, and the third one was like 30-ish. And so like it's these quick little like just snapshots, and so like it's taking that like expanding that, which makes it feel more overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah.
Which you can get where if you're just coming into this like fresh, you aren't familiar with these past works, you aren't familiar with like this era and like this atmosphere that they're coming from. I can see how it's like it feels like you're suffocating almost.
Yeah,
But
and like that's not with like that's not just with like the lyricism, but like I have actually problems with some of these tracks because I feel like this thing just goes on for too long, in my opinion. Like I think if this thing was in the format of their previous records, it actually would hit me a lot harder, because I feel like at certain points they kind of run out of the same ideas. Ocean Songs is a linear narrative about this one character, but like it covers all the main points of previous tracks, but with same production of previous tracks, and it's 7 minutes long. And I don't think this album is dependent on that one track. And I think it could have been just completely rushed out, and Little Corpse could have been added to other places. I like Guest House. I like the ending of Guest House. How we get that like last little moment, but I think everything building up to the last little moment just didn't feel, it felt like filler for me personally, because I felt like we got like the ending, like the last 2 minutes is fine, but we didn't need the first like two.
I have to disagree. Obviously, I love this album. If again, like going back to our previous work, when they made their old songs, it was like these like moments, this music instrumentation, and like the switch, and it was basically like these very quick snippets of things. And this is the first time to actually understand like how to make things last and like feel and be weighted, because like their first albums have been like 5 minutes or like 5 sections in 1 minute, and now it's like 5 minutes for those same 5 sections. So it's like understanding like how to actually like let things sit and weigh upon the audience a little bit. They're exploring that idea a little bit.
And I get why they do it, because they want you to live in this anxiety, but like I feel like moments like that don't emphasize with me, or don't sit as importantly as with me than others, as something that is like a reasonable length, short, punchy moment. But like there's moments on here that I think like the length is actually well deserved. Satan the Wait, which is their most catchiest track on here for sure.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like it kind of repeats towards the end, I'm fine with that length. It may go on too long, I think, but I don't care. It's one of those tracks where I think, it kind of plays itself out too much, but when it does, it's enjoyable, because I think the production, especially the bells that are across this entire record, which they just fit into the drums and kind of just this like chaotic nature so well, this like bubbling sensibility of like almost evil is on foot at any moment, it can pop out. That's in that paranoia too. It fits really well in this record. City Song is the best example of that. I love the build up to City Song. I think it works in creating this narrative of like, okay, this is the reality we take place. It's like the first like scene in Eraserhead, or like second scene in Eraserhead, where he's going through the city and you're like, oh, this is an interstitial shit show. Yeah. This is where the album takes place.
This is for a reference to like this obscure ass 70s movie.
This is where your head should be. Like this is where you should be thinking in the shitty city.
Yeah.
in this like Silent Hill S town where like only bad people come to, and they come here for whatever reason.
I think, in my opinion, the weakest song here is actually Less Sex.
I really like Less Sex because I
me,
love the bass of it. I think it's reasonably
Like,
length.
it sounds good. It's reasonably length, but to me, it just sounds like a lesser, like, Nine Inch Nails song.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like
just-
I love that bass so much.
It's a good bass. Like, it's a good song. I just feel like it's not a Daughter's song. And, like, that's maybe just the
and for
biggest
me,
issue.
it's enough like production buildup that I really enjoy it as like a
Yeah.
little off moment because it's just this weird little corner of this area.
And I think...
And we also on that track we see a different side of the character that's
Yeah.
like in a different shade, which is it's probably why it's one of my favorite moments on here. But like the section I like the most is essentially Satan the Wait, or no, everything from Satan the Wait, the Flammable Man, Lord Song, and Less Sex. I think that like section flows really good. But like after Daughter, it just doesn't. It begins to become too much.
Yeah.
To the point where it like the ideas aren't sitting with me, the production isn't sitting with me, it isn't making me super anxious or dread filled. It's just there.
I think that maybe it's just... You're like the outsider. Like, this is not a band you're familiar with. This is a band I was very familiar with. A band I loved. Finally coming back. And so, like, I think maybe that's just kind of feel like this is a album that, like, is going to be much more, like, up the alley of, like, people who are already familiar with this band, already familiar with their work, who've seen them kind of evolve over their previous work and kind of taking the next logical step after they're self-titled. And so, like, for, like, fans, it's going to be like, this is exactly what we wanted, despite what the album said it was. Outside, it might just be just too different to, like,
Yeah.
it's not something you were already attuned for.
Yeah. Even at the worst moments of this album, I think the production they have is good, but it's just the same.
Yeah.
I think the worst moments on this album, writing wise, are the same, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
There's the worst thing I can say is moments are the same, or the type of narrative that is on here isn't my preference, but I do not think it's bad.
Yeah.
I think this is a good album, but it's just down to the end personal preference of what I don't like.
Yeah.
But I do think this is a good album. I don't think it's like a perfect album or anything.
I don't think it's perfect. I think it's very good.
I think it's good. It's something that I feel like I would have fought for Trevor to have on the year-end list, but it wouldn't be super high. It would be decently low because I think it was one of the most important releases of last year, but it isn't the most important in my eyes.
It would be higher up on mine, definitely. It was very high up on my last year end list, so my personal one. But again, it's a very personal preference. So with this type of music, it always is.
Yeah.
So
And I think the soundscapes they create here are really interesting. And Alexis just needs to get a new haircut. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh my God.
They did a video we saw him live, and he had the stupid haircut. And immediately I looked over to Jonathan and said, "That's the shittiest fucking haircut
so
I've ever
bad.
seen." I feel like he's like a wrestling heel.
he used to be bald. Like, he used to just keep it buzzed,
I
like,
feel-
all around it. That was fine.
The only reason I can see if you do that is like if you're a wrestling heel and you're trying to get cheap heat, try to get the crowd to hate you.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I think he does it.
Based on what we saw live, I think he just does a lot for attention.
Yeah.
Because, like, you want to talk about that? Like, what
I
it was
don't
like
think it's
live?
important because it's just like their set is what I expected. I wasn't like blown away, but
Yeah.
it's what I was expected. I wasn't left disappointed, but it was what I was expected.
Yeah, it was what you expect when a band actively tries to create anxiety with their albums. It's pretty much them, like, taking that.
I think the reason I didn't enjoy it as much is it just felt like not their set, but like everything I'm building to, just the day in general seemed really long, and some of the fans were really shitty, especially the 40-year-old woman behind us.
They kept hitting us, trying to start like a pit or something.
I don't know if she was hitting us, but like she was either she was on,
actively was like pushing me, like trying to actively start something. With
yeah, and then she was also on acid, I'm assuming, because either her husband or some random security guard or boyfriend, whatever, some random
I don't
dude.
think she's on acid.
I swear to God she was, because she
Probably.
whatever, doesn't matter, but like she just seemed out of it regardless.
Yeah, she was definitely out of it. I don't think.
It's like he just pulled her away. It was funny. She was trying to go close. It was hilarious. And then there was this other mom behind us that was just like, she was just headbanging, and it was nice. I was like, oh, mom got a night off.
Yeah.
Good for her. Idols is truly for the children. Or not idol. Daughters. I don't know.
Daughters is for the children. If there's one takeaway, this is Show your children, your small children, daughters. They'll love it.
Daughters is for the children.
Daughters is for your infants. Forget Mozart. Mozart doesn't help your infants grow. It's daughters.
Daughter, it's like for the children. Wu-Tang, Little Pump, daughters.
Daughters, all for the children. Fuck Mozart.
I think we're wrapping up there. Until next time, guys. I've been Vincent.
I'm Jonathan.
And see you, boys.